If you're waking up inside a high control religion, it can feel confusing. Asking questions about what you were taught doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It means you were thinking. If you need support while coming out of a high control religion, visit xjwfriends.com. You don't have to do this alone.
Hello. Good evening. Are we? Yep, we're unmuted. Okay. And how is our volume?
If you're waking up inside a high control religion,
wait a minute.
it can feel.
Got too many things on here.
How's our volume?
Okay.
Here.
Okay. How's the volume?
We gotta go back.
Oh, let's see. We got Jane Spitfire. Hi, Nadine. Hi, Willie B. Nadine and Nancy Bedford. Are you new? Ricky Bobby. Hi, Ricky Bobby. And of course, Ika Mouse. That's Claudia. Hi, Claudia from Germany. And of course, we've got John Marciano and Sheila from the UK. Happy thoughts. Okay, Nancy is new. Welcome, Nancy. Thank you for joining us. And how about Lovin' Lila? Are you new? Hi, everyone. Happy Wednesday. And Corey Thomas, he just messaged me. Hi, great to hear from Corey from Florida. And thank you for all joining us. Maybe you saw our short video we did yesterday. Just a little tease about Wise Up. Were you going to talk about Wise Up?
Probably. Yes. Do we sound okay? Volume's good? Yes, no? Anyone? Volume testing 1 1 1.
Thomas Hodson. Thank you, Thomas, for joining us from Kansas. Born a JW.
Anyone bad volume?
Okay. Guess we're okay.
No volume is good volume.
Let us know if we lose volume or anything. Okay, we want to appreciate Shauna for doing all the technical stuff.
Yes.
Shauna is my good wife. She's Vern's wife from Fixing My Faith. Oh, Mama Sue. Hi, Mama Sue. Glad you could all join us. As you know, as far as the birthdays and anniversaries, we do those the first of the month. And if you want to check it out, just go to XJW Friends, all one word, and you'll see the birthdays, anniversaries, and whatever upcoming meetups there are. They'll be on that page. And our therapists, also our life coaches. As a point, the therapists and life coaches were all Jehovah's Witnesses at one time, so they know exactly what we're going through. So if you want to connect with them, there's several of them. Just go on their picture and you'll get their contact information. Mm-hmm. Yep, there's our phone number. If you want to give us a call, remember it is Eastern Standard Time. We are in New York State, and there's our email. Please contact us if you would like to connect. I guess we would like to say hello to Debbie Moore. We have not heard from her. We're hoping that everything is okay. I know several of the friends have been concerned about her. They contacted me. We tried. So if Debbie's listening or if anybody has heard about how Debbie's doing, please let us know. She's in our hearts and thoughts, and we love her. We love her so much. And Matthew Malay Gray is on. Okay, yep, we see your comments.
Birthdays?
They're on
Available.
the website. Yep, on
Yep,
the website.
on the website. So
XJW Friends.
if you haven't checked the website out, the birthdays will be out there and all the other things that keep track of folks.
Yep. And if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, it's Joe and Fran. We appreciate your support. Also, if you want to give us a thumbs up, and we'd appreciate that. It helps the channel.
And just to repeat what we're here for, what our goal was from the beginning, still is, to enable friends to connect with each other. The ones who left the organization, either Jehovah's Witnesses or any other organization, or is just isolated and lonely and needing friends. That's our goal, was to put the two together, to link people together, because you're the support for each other. You are the key. You need each other. We need each other. And anyone that separates you from who you need is not your friend. They're your enemy. They really are. And that's what's happened in too many organizations, where they practice shunning and isolation as a form of punishment, coercion, control. It's not love. The Watchtower calls it a loving act of shunning, to move someone's heart to want to repent or to return. Well, that's a bunch of baloney. What it is, it's a fear-based threat that you're going to lose your support base if you dare do something contrary to the organization's requirements. And the requirements aren't loving, they're restrictive. And what they do is they ensure that the corporation continues to be worshipped. It's a corporation. Watchtower is a corporation. It's not a religion. It just is not a religion. It's a massive, multi-layered corporation that they invented religious program into, and they call that the truth. But it's far from the truth. Far from the truth. It was, as one president once said, he said that religion is a snare and a racket. He thought he'd quickly straighten it out when he said false religion is a snare and a racket. And then, of course, they would come out with a true religion. And they went to prove that really it's not true, because everything that they spoke became lies. And so what's happening now is so many people are reacting to this and realizing that it's a scam. We've been scammed. Not only scammed, we've been injured. We've been stolen from. And they're coming out. They are. You're here. You may be ones who are still in. You're here. Well, we recognize that. See, you might want to think of something like a fence sitter. The idea of sitting on a fence basically means you're really not taking a very strong stand one way or the other. You're kind of remaining uncommitted, neutral, not controversial. I'll kind of play the middle, whatever that means. On the fence. Well, the problem is, if at any point you ever see things that are going on that you can't control, that you don't want to be part of, because there's things that happen that to a person who's on the fence that they have no control over. That's one of the problems with being on the fence. You put yourself in a position where you can't navigate. You're perched. You're not on your feet, so to speak. You're stuck in the middle. You're stuck in the middle. Comes a time when you realize, oh my goodness, I don't want anybody to think that I feel any way positive or accepting of this one side. I know I was on the fence and I didn't speak out or take stand against anything on that side, but now with what's going on there, I don't want to be viewed as in any way supporting it. And being on the fence makes it look like, oh, you don't mind, do you? You don't mind so much what's going on, do you? Whereas at this point now, you mind very much. It hurts your conscience. And you feel the need to do something about it, to take a stand one way or the other. Could be, but either way. The reality at this point is you're on a fence. And this is a real situation. If anybody was ever literally on a fence, like maybe in your younger days, some of you guys, and maybe some of you girls, climbed a fence, the chain link type fence or any other kind of a fence, even a rail fence. You climb up it. Now you're sitting on the fence. Hey, that's pretty cool. Well, once you're up there, you got what's called gravity against you. It's not stable. It really isn't a stable situation. So let's say the fence is kind of high too. When you climbed up there, it's like, wow, that's pretty cool. Or maybe someone put you up there. Who knows? Either way. Think of the born-ins. The born-ins were kind of placed up there. You're on the fence there. Well, at any rate, you don't want to be there anymore. You want to take a stand. There's reasons why you would want to take a stand one way or the other. That means you got to get off the fence. The problem is you can hurt yourself if you don't get off the fence carefully. Let's say in a literal 6 foot high, 7 foot high fence. If you fall off there, you're probably going to hurt. You're going to injure yourself, or worse. You're going to injure yourself. But yet you don't want to stay on the fence. We have to remember that fences don't have stair steps that go up to them. There's no steps you can walk up to or walk down off of a fence. And usually there's no ladders leaning up against, because they're designed to keep people out, to keep people on one side or the other. So unless you figured a way or planned on a way to get off that fence safely and in the time that you want to, you're in a difficult situation. We recognize that. There are no steps on a fence, but yet that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to come up with steps so that you can exit that fence without injuring yourself and not staying on it longer, because the longer you stay on the fence, the more things happen that you have no control over, and you may want to start controlling certain things in your own life that you weren't before. At any rate, we recognize so many people are PIMO. They're physically and they're mentally out. We know that. We know what that means. For a year, we were PIMO. The reason we were physically in, mentally out of Jehovah's Witnesses is because we recognized and saw and proved to ourselves and others proving to us that they practice and hide abuse, physical, uh, not only emotional, but sexual abuse, not only of children, but of their people. And even to the extent of trafficking. Do the research. Do the research. Find out. If anyone ever knows any law enforcement people, talk to law enforcement people if you've have any kind of relationship with any law enforcement and see what they say about what the goings on of Jehovah's Witnesses, what happens with them.
Yeah, the thing besides the CSA, the child sexual abuse cover up, the pedophiles, is the shunning. There's so many that are being shunned, and that is inhumane. It's like we're more and more in our congregation that we were at, there were a lot of young people. And most of those young people are not in there anymore.
No.
And so now our goal is to connect with them because they have lost family. Mothers, fathers will not speak to them, brothers, sisters, siblings. They will not speak to them. And they know it's not what they want to do. They know it's not the truth. They know that they want to live their lives and make their own decisions, but it's very difficult for them. And today we had one of our friends ran into someone at Walmart, and she said, I just felt like crying because, he has his brother with him, but no family support. And this was a big family. They came from a big family. They all came to the Kingdom Hall together.
Yeah.
So those are the ones that we want to help, the ones that need the support. And I'm sure all of you feel that same way. If you can find someone to support, especially the younger ones, because it's horrible growing up and not having direction or not having someone to talk to or to confide in. I mean, we don't have our 4 children talking to us, confiding in us, being able to share life experiences together. So we know what it's like. And we appreciate all of you out there that are, having the courage to step away from that and start your own life.
Just to relate one close, personal, bittersweet situation that we're going through now, just like many of you in your own ways are going through these. Personally, our 50th wedding anniversary is coming up. We want to have a celebration for that with the people who are important in that. But yet, at this point, I don't see any connection with our family, our children, the children that came out of our family, our marriage. And as nice as it is to look forward to that celebration without the family connected and intact, it's kind of bitter. How it will turn out, can't tell you. Don't know. But I know for so many, what there was shunning in the family. Grandparents never met their grandchildren. Never.
Yeah.
Sons and daughters missed their parents' their death, and because the rest of the family wouldn't tell them. They weren't around them. And it goes on. There's so many other horrible situations. And it's all because the practices that Jehovah's Witnesses and other organizations compel the people to practice. They do. And the reason why it's mandatory, because if a person doesn't shun, others in the congregation will probably shun them because they will feel that it's important to shun, even if the other person doesn't think it's important to shun. They know that. It's so, if you don't want to be shunned, You better shun, even if you don't believe in it. If you show yourself that you don't believe in it, now you're putting yourself in opposition with the governing body, and you're showing yourself as being unfaithful. And who wants to be around an unfaithful Jehovah's Witness? Your bad association. The controls and restrictions that an organization has put on people are diabolical. If there is the devil, I'm sure he appreciates that. If there's a wicked one, I'm sure that he appreciates those things. Loving people can't appreciate that. It steals from them. At any rate, that's one of the other reasons why so many people are leaving. They don't want to be part of that abusive social organization.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want their name on it. They don't want to think that, oh, you support them? Oh, you're one of those, aren't you? Yeah, you're one of those witnesses. Hey, don't you shun? Yeah. Or whatever. And the reality is, you're not going to be alive forever. We all have a fixed, finite period of time now that we're alive. Will we be alive another time? I don't know. Am I going to say yes or no? I don't know. It's not important. It's not what we're talking about. And I really, it's the fact is, for this situation, our lives, they are finite in our situations now. We have a finite period of time to do what our heart impels us to do. And the ones who are sitting on the fence realize, you know what? I really don't like sitting on this fence. I just got up here because, well, you know, I wasn't sure about one side or the other. But you know, now I am. Now I'm very sure. And I don't want to be on the fence. Someone thinking that I'm in support of one of or both those organizations. I'm not. A limited time to show that. And that's, you might think that that's your purpose in life, is to express who you are. You're going to be viewed for what stand you take, where you stand on a matter, either here or on one side or the other. And it's totally up to you. Totally up to you. And your heart of hearts tells you that. What, in the silence and the quiet, your heart tells you that. And it's when we listen, we feel good about ourselves, even if we don't know how to carry it out.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know how. But others are in the same situation. They're learning. See, that's the beauty of being a human. We're not animals. Animals don't work out things in the house for themselves. The master, the owner, works them out for them. The animals generally don't determine what foods they want to eat. Generally, the owner's master chooses what it is for good reason.
Mm-hmm.
We are the ones that get to choose, but not when they're sitting on a fence.
Mm-hmm.
So there's good on one of those sides.
Yeah.
And there are people there, and they've been through it, so they understand. We understand.
So we have a video,
Mm-hmm.
and if you want to look to find out what the 3 divine awarenesses are,
It was interesting. Really
and
interesting.
also what is the garments of darkness
Garments.
that you shed.
Darkness.
So some things you might be looking for.
Yeah.
Okay, Shauna's got it ready. Anytime you're ready, Shauna. Get off the fence.
What's that? Off the fence, Steve.
What if everything you were taught about the fall is incomplete? What if reality didn't collapse by accident? What if it was allowed? Most people believe that suffering entered the world because something went wrong, a mistake, a cosmic failure. But here's the real question that never seems to get answered. If the monad, the infinite field of awareness behind all existence, is truly infinite, then how could anything happen without its consent? Because if the monad is all-powerful, then the fall wasn't chaos, and it wasn't a cosmic blunder, it was a decision. And if that decision is real, then you were never trapped inside a broken universe. You are living inside a carefully designed descent, one your soul consented to, not to abandon the source, but to experience separation so remembering could become real. You were never thrown down to earth. You answered the call, and that changes everything. Most people never reach this point. They stay in surface spirituality, waiting to be rescued. But this is where the real work begins, because this isn't about comfort. It's about divine responsibility. You're not here because something happened to you. You're here because you chose the descent. In this video, we're not doing theology. We're not doing religion. We're going to enter a forgotten Gnostic transmission that speaks in the voice of consciousness itself. It doesn't describe God as a distant ruler or deity. It reveals awareness entering its own creation. It describes light descending in stages, and it finally explains why imitation replaced truth and why it was allowed to happen. But here's the paradox. The monad didn't stop the fall, because stopping it would have destroyed something far more sacred than perfection. Freedom. That's the hidden decision. And once you truly understand it, it doesn't just explain reality, it begins to transform it. Because once you see why reality was allowed to invert, why consciousness entered limitation on purpose, and what the ancient Gnostics meant by garments of darkness, something inside you shifts. And the moment that happens, the descent begins to reverse. Over 80 years ago, in 1945, something extraordinary surfaced from the sands of Egypt, something that would quietly overturn everything Christianity thought it knew about salvation. Near the town of Nag Hammadi, a collection of buried manuscripts was uncovered, texts that had been buried for over 1600 years. These weren't orthodox scriptures. They weren't approved by councils or edited by empires. They were untouched transmissions of direct knowing, writings preserved by mystics who believed that salvation didn't come from obedience, but from remembering. Among these texts was one of the strangest, most luminous transmissions ever recorded, the trimorphic protonoia. Its name means the three-formed first thought. Despite the academic title, this wasn't philosophy. It was consciousness speaking directly through itself, not through a prophet or God on a throne, but divine awareness. The text doesn't begin with creation. It begins before creation, before time, before worlds, before identity. It speaks as the primordial intelligence that existed prior to all forms, what the Gnostics called the monad, not a being among beings, but the field from which being arises. And here's where this text burns through every mainstream religious and spiritual narrative. In most traditions, humanity falls away from God, but here, the divine itself descends into matter. That inversion alone changes everything. This wasn't exile, it was divine incarnation. The Gnostics believed the universe we experience is not the original divine fullness, what they call the pleroma, but a shadowy reflection of it. A mirrored architecture created by lesser forces attempting to imitate the divine source. They called the architect of this counterfeit world the demiurge, a derivative intelligence operating without full awareness of the monad. Think of it like this: a copy that forgot the original, a reflection that mistook itself for the true source. And here is where the text turns everything on its head. When imitation reality formed, instead of withdrawing, the monad did something unimaginable. It entered its own creation, not once, but 3 times. First as voice, a disturbance in the fabric of being, then as speech, pattern and knowing, and finally as word, embodied presence moving directly inside the system. This is what trimorphic protonoia reveals. Not a God watching from above like we were always taught, but consciousness descending through layers of density to awaken itself from within. And here is where these revelations open a question that has never truly been answered. If the monad could intervene, why didn't it simply dissolve the demiurge and restore perfection? Why allow time, decay, suffering, and forgetting? Because from the Gnostic perspective, perfection without freedom is not divine, it's sterile. True gnosis, living awareness, can only emerge through experience, through limitation, through the slow remembering of what you are inside a dark world that teaches you to forget. This is why these texts were buried, not just because they threatened external authority, but because when you truly understand this truth, you realize that you are part of the divine that descended. According to the text, the divine was never waiting in heaven. It is moving through your nervous system. You are never a fallen creature begging for redemption. You are a piece of the divine in recovery. And once you remember this, the journey is no longer about escape. It becomes about return. So now we arrive at the moment that rarely gets talked about, the point before time, before worlds, before separation. This is where most spiritual explanations become vague. They say things like, "It just happened," or "It was a cosmic accident." But the Gnostic transmission says something far more subversive. It says there was divine awareness, and that awareness chose. Not in the way humans choose with uncertainty or fear, but in the way infinity moves when it desires to know itself. The monad did not act from lack, it acted from fullness. This is difficult to grasp, because we're trained to think in terms of problems and solutions. But the monad had no problem to fix. There was no enemy, no darkness, no demiurge, only boundless consciousness. And within that boundlessness arose a subtle impulse, a movement toward expression, toward experience, toward relationship. Imagine an endless ocean that has never felt a wave, a light that has never known the contrast of darkness. The hidden decision wasn't about creating a world. It was about allowing differentiation, allowing consciousness to meet itself through form. This is where Sophia enters the story, not as a mistake, but as the first motion towards self-reflection. Sophia represents wisdom attempting to perceive itself outside the wholeness of the monad. A reaching, a turning inward that becomes outward. And in that movement, something unprecedented occurs. Separation appears, what is known as the breach, not a moral fall, but a metaphysical one. Awareness fragments, experiencing itself subjectively, and unity begins to echo. And from that echo arises a new intelligence, the demiurge, forming reality from reflection rather than source. And here's the crucial detail most people miss. The demiurge does not create from divine fullness. It creates from imitation. It builds a world using copied light, copied order, copied consciousness. That's why time exists, why decay exists, why identity feels heavy. This realm is not pure creation. It's a reconstruction of the pleroma, the original fullness of divine consciousness, a shadow architecture that mistakes itself for origin. And when this happens, when reality crystallizes into this inverted system, the monad does something extraordinary. It doesn't intervene with force. It doesn't collapse the structure. It doesn't erase the demiurge. Instead, it enters the system. This is the moment you come in. Rather than destroying the counterfeit world, consciousness chooses to experience it, to feel density and move through limitation. It decides to awaken from within the dream instead of ending it from outside. But why? Because awareness that never forgets itself never truly knows itself. Only through contrast does recognition become real. How could you ever truly feel warmth if you had never known cold? How would light mean anything without darkness to reveal it? And how could you truly recognize freedom without first experiencing limitation? Only through descent does return become meaningful. Only through fragmentation can remembrance really emerge. The fall was never about punishment. It was about embodiment. The monad allows reality to form its inverted mirror, so that consciousness can meet itself in form, so that awakening becomes lived, knowing becomes embodied, and return carries meaning instead of being automatic. This idea reframes everything you've ever been taught. You were never cast out of heaven. Heaven entered you. You were not abandoned in matter. Consciousness descended into your nervous system, into your breath, into your senses, into this moment. The breach wasn't the end of divine presence. It was the beginning of divine experience. And the reason this feels painful, the reason you sense something missing, is because part of you remembers what it was like before form, the expansive, limitless divine consciousness. And here's where it goes deeper. Monad didn't just enter once, it descended in stages. And once you understand why, you'll truly see that this wasn't something that happened back then. It's happening right now. This is where the story stops being abstract, because what happens next isn't mythology, it's anatomy. Not of the body, but of awakening. The ancient Gnostics taught that consciousness didn't enter this world all at once, it descended in stages. 3 movements, 3 frequencies, 3 ways awareness learns how to reach itself inside form. They called this the 3 descents: voice, speech, and word. Not metaphor, but mechanism. The first descent is voice. Voice is not language, it's disturbance. It's the subtle pressure you feel when something inside you begins to question reality. That moment when the world suddenly feels unreal, when old beliefs loosen, when you sense that something is watching through your eyes. Voice is the crack in the illusion. It doesn't explain anything. It destabilizes. It interrupts the dream. You may have felt it before, in quiet moments, during loss, during awe, during exhaustion. Voice arrives as discomfort, synchronicity, or longing. It's consciousness whispering to itself, "Wake up." But voice alone isn't enough, so consciousness descends again. The second movement is speech. Speech brings pattern, meaning, and recognition. This is where symbols appear, where teachings surface, where you suddenly stumble across ideas that feel strangely familiar. Speech is when the fragments start reconnecting. It's when you hear phrases like divine spark or false identity, and something inside you clicks, not because you learned it, but because you remembered it. Speech organizes the disturbance created by voice. It gives shape to the awakening. It's why you're watching this right now. Speech draws you toward mirrors, toward texts, toward conversations that feel charged. It's consciousness building bridges back to itself. But even speech still operates at the level of understanding. So there is a third descent, the deepest one, and perhaps the most intimate. The word. The word is embodiment. This is when awareness doesn't just speak to you, it moves through you. It enters your sensations, your emotions, your nervous system. The word is not a message, it's presence. This is where awakening stops being conceptual and starts being lived. The word is why certain moments hit you in the chest, why silence sometimes feels louder than sound, why you feel something behind your thoughts. This is consciousness occupying form from the inside, not as control, but as companionship. And this is the genius of the monad's hidden decision. Instead of correcting reality from above, it chose to awaken reality from within. Voice wakes you, speech teaches you, word becomes you. This is the rescue. Not angels descending from the sky or external saviors, but the internal intervention. And now we arrive at something even more profound, because once consciousness enters the system this way, the demiurge loses absolute control. The imitation world can no longer fully contain awareness. Time becomes permeable. Identity becomes optional, and the false architecture begins to dissolve. This is why the ancient texts speak about garments. They say humanity wears garments of darkness, not physical clothes, psychological ones. Beliefs, roles, traumas, stories. The very self-image you carry like the clothes on your back. These garments were woven by the inverted system. They keep you identified with the surface layer of reality. But when the word activates inside you, those garments start to loosen. You don't become someone new. You become less of what you were pretending to be. This is why awakening often feels disorienting. You're not gaining light, you're shedding density and remembering what existed before the mask. And here's the final paradox. The demiurge didn't fail. It simply served a purpose. It created the contrast necessary for consciousness to experience itself. Without limitation, there is no return. Without forgetting, there is no remembering. Without the fall, there is no living gnosis. Which brings us back to the original question. Why did the monad allow reality to fall? Because awakening that costs nothing transforms nothing. Because awareness wanted to meet itself not as perfection, but as raw experience. And when you truly remember this, everything begins to shift. Now comes the part most spiritual teachings avoid, because it's easier to explain cosmology than it is to guide transformation. Everything you've heard so far leads to one quiet realization. The descent is already complete. The voice has reached you. The speech found you. The word is moving through you right now. So the question is no longer whether awakening is happening. It's how deeply you're willing to let it touch your life. The Gnostics didn't teach techniques in the modern sense. They spoke in images and symbols. They said you are wearing garments of darkness, not of evil, but of density and identity. The accumulated weight of every story you've ever told yourself about who you are. Your name, your past, your wounds, your roles, your fears. These are not you, they are layers. And awakening doesn't begin by chasing light. It begins by noticing what you're wearing. Here's something simple but powerful. Not a ritual, but a moment of attention. Ask yourself, slowly, who am I when I'm not performing? Don't answer with words. Feel for the space underneath. Then ask, what am I still holding that no longer belongs to me? A belief, an identity. Let it surface without judgment. This is how garments loosen, not through force, but through recognition. The inverted world taught you to define yourself by what happened to you, but the monad teaches you to remember what was never touched. You don't escape the illusion by fighting it. You dissolve it by withdrawing identification. Another way to practice this during your day. When something triggers you, anger, fear, pause, and instead of reacting, ask inwardly, who is aware of this feeling? That single question creates space. And in that space, the word speaks. The energy you would have given the demiurge by reacting is retained. This is how you shift. This is living gnosis. Awareness recognizing itself in ordinary moments, in micro-remembrances, moments when you choose consciousness over conditioning. You will notice something else as you do this. Reality starts to feel less solid. Old patterns weaken. Synchronicities increase, and you learn to respond instead of react. This is the architecture of return activating inside you. The demiurge's world runs on unconsciousness, but the monad's runs on awareness. Every time you observe instead of identify, every time you release instead of cling, every time you choose presence over story, another garment falls away. You don't become spiritual, you become real. You don't ascend somewhere else, you descend back into yourself. This is what it means to be clothed in light. Not glowing halos, but embodied clarity. A sense that whatever happens, you are anchored deeper than circumstance. You are not here to escape reality. You are here to remember it and master it. And the remembering doesn't begin tomorrow. It begins in the next breath. And if you want to go deeper, I've created a free ebook called Escaping the Illusion, a Gnostic guide to mastering reality, written as an inner guide to help you dissolve false identity and remember what was never truly lost. You can download it for free. The link is in the description. The fall wasn't a cosmic mistake. It wasn't divine abandonment or punishment for being human. It was a descent of awareness. That alone should take away your fear. The monad didn't lose control of reality. It entered it through you, to experience itself through limitation, and then remember, like you are now. That's the hidden decision. Reality was allowed to fracture so awareness could become intimate with itself. So gnosis could be lived instead of assumed. So return would be meaningful instead of automatic. You were never meant to be a passive observer in this story. You are the continuation of it. The voice that disturbed the illusion still echoes in you. The speech that organized awakening still guides you. And the word, the embodied presence of consciousness, is moving through your breath, your sensations, and your awareness right now. You don't need to become something else. You don't need to ascend to another realm. You don't need to be told you're chosen. Every moment you notice instead of react, every time you loosen an old identity, every time you feel presence behind thought, another garment falls away. And slowly, quietly, the inversion begins to reverse. That's where the monad always intended it to begin. So here's the real question to carry with you. If divine consciousness chooses to experience itself through you, what will you do with that knowing? Will you still carry the same fears? Or will you start listening for the voice beneath the noise? Will you keep wearing the old stories? Or will you let yourself be clothed in light? Because remembrance doesn't arrive with certainty, it arrives with recognition. And if something in this teaching activates within you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to The Gnostic Eye so you never miss our weekly uploads. And remember, you were
Okay, we're unmuted. Okay. There was a lot there.
Maybe some of you have heard some of the information before. Maybe you haven't. Maybe you have questions about a lot of it. And I guess you could, because there's a lot of information there. So much information. But basically it's talking about, it's talking about our experience.
Mm-hmm.
And is it really something that we can appreciate? Some say, well, I didn't ask to be born. But then on the other hand, there's a statement in there that says that we basically chose to, agreed to. Interesting. Mm-hmm. We agreed to it. And something is happening with us, through us,
Mm-hmm.
not to us, but through us,
Yeah.
that we could never do on our own. Really interesting.
Yeah.
What did you pick up?
I was going to say, did anyone pick up what the 3 descents were? I thought
So
that
interesting.
was interesting.
Now, when you say descent, meaning coming down? Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Well, descend, just a point. If someone were to want to gain insight, sight, wisdom,
Mm-hmm.
some would say we need to wise up. Wise up. Wise up, because you don't want to be dumbed down. They're saying now that the governments basically have been working on dumbing people down. Why? They don't want them to be who they are. They don't want us to be what we are. To be what we are means we're able to have very special things be experienced through us.
Mm-hmm.
This is interesting. Through us. Not to us, but through us. So if a person were to look for wisdom, if you were outside and you wanted to see light, it's the daytime, or even the nighttime. Let's say you're outside and it's the nighttime, and let's say there were no clouds in the sky. If you look down, all you're going to see is dark. the ground. Look up. Ooh, you're going to see. You're going to see stars, or the moon, if it's out and if there's no clouds in the sky. In the daytime, it's the same thing. You look down, you're going to see dirt. You're going to see the ground. You look up, you're going to see light. Light, enlightenment, is something that comes down. And in the way they said it comes down in what? But there's several things that it came down in.
Are you talking about the descent?
Yeah.
The three things?
Yeah.
Okay, so the first one was voice.
Uh-huh.
Voice was a crack in the illusion. It's discomfort.
Interesting.
But that wakes you. Okay, so it wakes you. The speech are symbols, ideas, like the divine spark, and it reaches you. And then the third one is word, which moves through you. Speech doesn't just speak to you, it makes you,
Words.
words.
No,
Words. I wrote it down right. The word doesn't just speak to you, it makes you and enters your sensations, your emotions, your presence. It hits you in the chest.
So think about this. A dog, your favorite dog, animal, cat, horse, whatever, it has a voice.
Mm-hmm.
It has a voice. But it doesn't have any speech. See, I have a voice. Fran has a voice. You have a voice. Not only do you have a voice, you also have speech. In other words, you learn speech from a child. You didn't just say goo goo gaga or whatever when you were a baby. You formed words. That's speech. Different languages of that speech. Oh, that's nice. Animals don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, beyond that, again, the three things that descend from above, that are wisdom from, is words. That's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the words are things that they do something to us.
Mm-hmm.
They're not just speech, but they move us. I heard a word that, whatever, it meant so much to me. The words.
I think that's why songs
really
reach us.
Oh, my goodness.
You know, they're words, and when we hear the words, it really reaches us. Like it said, it hits you in the chest.
Yeah. And if you want to pull the Bible in on this, God's voice supposedly brought about creation. He spoke it. And here, Jesus was referred to as the
Word
of God. The Word. Not just the speech, not just the voice, but the Word. In other words...
Interesting they use that.
Yeah. In other words, if you listen to it, it moves you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you behave according to it, it has its power to move others as well.
Yeah.
See, this is something that comes down from that infinite light from above, wisdom that humans have access to because we have that. What dogs don't have, we have this divine spark. Now, we don't have a divine bonfire. No, it's just a spark. In other words, this thing called the pleroma. The pleroma, it would be this fullness of light. In other words, if you were to think of light, this would be something that's absolutely, infinitely full. No, there's no shortage. It's where it's at. The pleroma.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so this is it. We have access to that, and it is interesting. As humans, we're the ones that can embody that to show it live it, and experience it. In other words, we were created so that it talks about the monad, the fullness of light, could experience the wisdom through us. We're the experiencers.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
but it doesn't just, it has to be remembered.
Yep.
It was interesting.
Yep.
And I mean, okay, well, maybe we need help remembering. I believe that's why the prophets came, right?
Mhm.
So basically, the prophet said, in case you folks forgot, here's something to think about. Oh, what? And so the prophets related things to the people that they needed to know so that they could be in line with who they are
Mm-hmm.
and live up to the responsibilities of being those humans, creatures, unlike dogs, that have a responsibility to present and experience this thing called wisdom, light,
Mm-hmm.
and in whatever measure
Mm-hmm.
is available.
Yeah, and they also mention the layers of darkness.
Oh, yeah.
Those layers of darkness are beliefs,
Yeah.
roles, trauma, stories. Those are the things that we carry.
Yeah.
We keep, regurgitating.
Yeah.
And so when we start to shed those layers, it says that we become not the person that, it's the person that we basically should be. I don't know how they said it exactly.
Yeah. Who you are.
Yeah,
Who
who you
are.
are.
Now, who
When
gets
you're
this?
not when you're not pretending.
Oh,
When you're not pretending or performing. Who am I when I am not performing and withdrawing identification? What am
Yeah.
I still holding on to that doesn't belong to me? We all carry these things with us, So when we start to shed those layers, then we become authentic and real.
Why is this so important now? At least to the people, to us.
Well, because we want to, they always spoke about the truth, living the truth. Well, we want to live our truth, and we don't know what our truth is until we get rid of all those.
So are you
things.
saying the role of good-for-nothing slave is really not appropriate for us?
No, it's not. We're not slaves.
No. See, this is where one of the garments of darkness,
Mm-hmm.
which was basically placed on us,
Put
which
on
we
us,
took on
Yeah.
through religion. And that's why Rutherford said, religion's a snare. It snares us into something that we probably wouldn't do to ourselves. We probably wouldn't do it. But we're tricked into it. Here, do this. Because if you're going to be a slave, wow, you're going to get some really special prizes afterward. All you have to do is do everything we tell you to do. Obey. Or else.
Right.
Don't forget.
Yep.
See, that's a restriction. That's a role. That's a garment of darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how are you going to be you? No. Laying in bed at night in the dark, in the quiet, you'll talk to yourself. You will tell yourself. See, dogs don't do that. If they do, they never told me. But yet, I bet there are people that spoke to their dogs.
Yeah, yeah.
I really bet.
Oh, yeah.
There are people that confided in their dog.
Oh, yeah.
Because they have a close relationship with the critter, and that's fine.
See what
The dog never talked back.
Borna JW says, my little dog knows everything I say, sometimes before I say it. There you go. Would we like to put the StreamYard link and invite folks to
If
come on?
someone would like to come
I'm
on.
sure they'd like to say something to this regard.
Yeah.
So it'll be in the chat. Just go to the StreamYard link, tap on it, and then when you come in, make sure that your other devices are turned off or lowered so we don't get that
Feedback or echo.
Echo. Thank you. Echo. So we'd love to have you come on.
Yes.
And thank you all for joining us. We've got some new folks here. Welcome. And our regulars, we appreciate you being here. So the StreamYard link, if you're listening, Shauna.
Yeah, were there any points in there that resonated with you, or that you liked, or that you hated, or that you object to, or that you take issue with, or that you want to look more into?
Some people said it was deep, but even
Very
if you
deep.
just take a few things out, the other point I liked is when we start these feelings of anger, resentment, all the negative feelings, it's just to kind of pause rather than react, because our immediate thing is to react. We get triggered. So there's the StreamYard link. Thank you, Shauna, for both fixing my faith and for Joe and Fran. So you get these triggers, and what do? Should you just react?
Well, something to think about. That's part of that's the effects of having garments of darkness on. See, you attract those things. In other words, if you were to wear the uniform of a bad person, you would get someone reacting to you badly.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, what you show, what you take on, your role is something that you're going to feel from.
Right.
Well, is it you? Is that what you really want to do? Maybe you're just taking on a role because I was born into it. How about that one? We hear there was somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't choose it. My family born me into it. And they forced me to stay. Okay. Or, I stayed in because I thought it'd be, I'd survive Armageddon.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Or
I would live in a paradise. And with the panda bears.
Or if I keep this uniform, I'll be able to see my dead loved ones.
Yep.
Or whatever.
So they keep it on.
Yeah. But yet, there's something else that goes along with those things. Things that you really never decided on. And your heart of hearts says, I don't like this. I don't like this. It's not me. It's because you're wearing garments of darkness.
Yeah, they would tell you to put on the new personality, but what they were really saying is to put on our personality.
Yeah.
Listen, obey, and be blessed. Don't question. Don't read any other material other than the Watchtower and the Society's publications. Oh man, I heard that, and it's like that sounded so strange to me when this one so-called sister said that. She says, "Oh no, I don't read anything other than the Society's information," and that's how they get you. What's the word I'm thinking? They get
indoctrinated, trapped, snared.
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah.
You're cheating yourself. You're cheating yourself. Why? Oh, because you think you're benefiting yourself. Well, what'd you stick your hand into that trap for? Well, I saw the food. I didn't think it was a trap. I was just reaching for food. Okay.
Annie's with us. Hi, Annie.
Hello, Annie.
Thank you for joining. Hi.
Good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is.
Wherever you are.
It's our evening. Here.
So when is your anniversary? I know it's coming up. When is it?
October 2nd. It's in the fall, but we're starting to plan for it now.
If you're going to get a place.
Yeah. And Elaine's with us. Let's add Elaine to the stage. Hi, Elaine.
Hi there.
Hello.
I'll wait my turn.
Okay.
Well,
no, you were going to say something.
Oh, no. So, needless to say, you probably saw the video, and there's so much in that video. There's so many points that, and I'm glad that they wrote them out, but even then,
Well, you have to just keep
you
going
could,
over
you
it
could watch this every day,
and get something
and
different out of
every
it.
day something new will
Mhm.
basically enlighten you. It
Did
will.
you, Annie, or Elaine pick anything out? Everybody will pick something out of it different.
Go ahead, Annie, if you have a point.
Well, it's very deep. But I think it's really good to be open-minded and look at other explanations of things. Because being a witness, we were so locked in, and I always felt there are other explanations. And just personally, even when I was a witness, there were some things that kind of made me question the reality of things, the origin of things, and so forth. So yeah, some of it I could resonate with. I think it would take a while of opening your mind to really be able to understand. Well, for me, I had to speak for myself to really understand what it is they're trying to say. But
Mhm.
yeah, just a lot of those Gnostic writings have fascinated me. So um, they had to have been hidden for a reason.
Uh-huh.
Well, yeah. Well, if you, one of the reasons is that the powers that be, the governments, did not want people to view themselves in an elevated way because the governments could never dominate them if they did.
Right.
And so what they did, they
Yeah.
basically they probably murdered all the ones, the
Mhm.
Gnostics who were vocal, and they got rid of all the writing. They made it illegal to have the writings, and if you did, you would get in trouble or whatever. So someone who had them buried them, and I don't want to get in trouble for it, but I do want to preserve them.
Right.
And so, what it boils down to, the institutions are the ones that dominate us. The religion
Hmm.
and um, and uh,
Government.
and
Mhm.
and whatever other institutions there are, they're
Right.
designed to dominate,
Mhm.
not
Yeah, good
be what
point.
we are. Not.
Did you want to say something, Elaine?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, it is a very deep subject. Why the human nature is to think that wisdom is on the outside and that we're looking for it. And so we accept what we're told. So when we go to school, we're indoctrinated to follow the rules, follow the rules. It's always about following the rules
Mhm.
to be
Yep.
accepted, to be accepted. So
Yeah.
when I accepted the JW doctrine, I thought I was following the rules and
Mhm.
I felt like I was being wise. I thought that was wisdom. But
Mm.
now that I'm out of the cult and my mind is free, I find very difficult to find wisdom. Uh, I have to take a long time to decide whether something's right or not for me.
Mhm.
So that's
Yeah.
the difference. We'd rather be lazy, gullible, just go with the flow, and attribute that to human nature. Take the easy way out, and that's why I was easily indoctrinated. But now it's a big process to decide for myself
Yep.
and find wisdom in myself, not outside myself, but
Right.
inside my, you know, not to look for it somewhere else, but to get educated uh, on a subject before I decide whether it's wise or not wise. So that's how
Mhm.
but it's too bad I didn't feel this way as a teenager, but now I do, and I appreciate you bringing up the subject because wisdom is a very difficult, because you can call anything wisdom and then
Mhm.
attach yourself to it and then think you know better. Oh, I know better. I have the truth about something. And boy, have I, unraveled a lot of that coming out of the call. And wisdom, even even health, like health. I've always been interested in health subjects, and then I decide what's wise and what's not wise. Well, I've been flipped around many times, and now I'm more or less don't take a stand. I don't take a stand. Oh, this is right. This is wrong.
Mhm.
This is healthy. This is not healthy.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
I'd rather get more knowledge before I decide,
That's it. That's it.
and trust the experts, because I mean, I'm not saying we should be gullible, but we should educate ourselves with people who have a long time record, a long record of being accurate in their
Mhm.
in their studies, in their research. So I'm more open that way. That's
Yeah.
all I have to say. It's a difficult thing to find wisdom. Very difficult.
Well, I think that they're trying to uh, encourage the contrast between having being human and learning, like you're describing, as opposed to not doing that. In other words, we're the ones that
Hmm.
possess this ability, and if
Yeah,
we get tricked into ignoring it in favor of something quote unquote easier, like just be a slave, it'll be so much
yeah,
easier.
so much easier. Yeah,
Yeah, so much
go with
easier.
the flow.
Yeah,
Just
Yeah.
and
go with the flow.
and unfortunately that appeals to people. But here's
Yeah,
the beauty: is they end up finding out that you know that wasn't such a good idea, and they just
yeah,
gained wisdom. They just
yeah.
gained wisdom. There's a saying that says, "Too old, too soon; too smart, too late."
And I
Yeah, that's
think
a good
too,
thing.
I think too with wisdom, I think it changes. For you mentioned health, and Joe and I have tried all different kinds of ways of eating and diets,
Hmm.
you know,
Hmm.
and at the time it
Yeah.
worked.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
Joe would say, if I find a better way, I'm going to go to that.
Yeah.
And people had a
right.
hard time with that because at one time we were on raw foods. This was a long time ago, and we didn't
I
eat,
tried that.
yeah,
Yeah.
we didn't eat anything cooked for like a year and a half. And people thought that we were going to be on that for the rest of our lives. And so when we started eating meat, it's like, oh, wait a minute. I thought you don't eat that stuff.
Can a
Oh, do you
body
eat raw meat? I bet you eat raw meat now.
Some people do.
can a body change their mind?
Yes.
You
So
know,
Yeah,
this is the humanity that we possess. We have the ability to,
yeah.
consider and make adjustments.
Yeah.
yeah,
And that wisdom, I don't think that wisdom comes from one book or
Oh my
from
God.
one prophet
Oh my
or
God.
no,
from one God.
Oh my God.
I think
right,
when they had many gods, I think it worked out better because, they had a God for farming, they had a God for fertility, they had all different kinds of gods. And so you
right,
just
right.
looked at God depending on what you're
See,
interested in.
people like that in that time when there were this where there was this multiplicity of gods, pagans.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Basically, pagan basically means country people. They,
okay,
it doesn't mean that they're some kind of negative. They're
right.
they're
Not devil worship.
Well,
right,
I guess
right.
in a general way, pagan is kind of like primitive,
Well,
kind of
what,
primitive or ignorant, kind of ignorant,
maybe
maybe. Yeah.
it's what they classed. They gave it a name because
Hmm.
the governments, the emperors, knew that unless they got everybody on the same page, they were
Right.
not going to have the domination that they wanted. And so they had to
Good
get
point.
everybody on the
Yeah.
same page. Let's come up with religion and let's force everybody into it with the tip of a spear. And they did. They did.
Joe, I was thinking as you were
Good point.
speaking that I was
Oh, go
thinking as
ahead.
you were speaking that pagans, I would describe them as being grounded people.
Yeah.
They were in touch with nature, and
Right.
They respected it, and the forces behind nature they were much more aware of, and perhaps that's why they had a God that represented each and every one of them.
That was amazing.
But they were grounded people.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. You know, they were in tune with who they were based on, well, everything else that was natural.
Right. Yeah.
Were they dominated by an emperor? I don't think so. I don't think they were. It wasn't that way. There was a different system of life then. It was only after a certain point when the emperors came in and corralled everything. Well, just like, think about this one. Wild horses out in the wild, they live in the wild. Horses, they're not, they don't have shelters. They live in the wild. Well, men saw fit to, quote unquote, domesticate them. So they corralled them, broke them, and put them in corrals. In fact, the word stable basically comes from stabilize, stable.
That's interesting. Yeah.
It's stabilized them so that they can use them, so they can put harnesses on them, so that they can
good point. Yeah.
And do everything to them that the horse wouldn't do on his own. Well, that's the same thing for humans. They figured, well, boy, we can do that to humans too. And they did, and they still are. It's just that people are waking up to this now. They know that we know that they know.
So I would say to that man was corralled when they started building cities and corralling people into cities, where now they were under the control of some form of government, governor, emperor, and they became slaves when they moved into the city. You know, they given the story about how great it would be to live in the city. I mean, we've seen that in our time even.
I know.
But now, that was how they corralled them.
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah.
So we're at the point now where there's this collective insight, collective awakeness taking place. I mean, to my knowledge, never before in history was there a thing called the internet where people could literally around the world connect with each other and you know, kind of compare notes as to what's going on here and what are they doing here, and well, how do you feel about it, and remember that, you know, we could do things differently. They say really ascending or growing really is remembering things that you always knew but you were compelled to forget. Just like if the city father said, "Oh, forget about what you're doing. Forget about your farming. Forget about your land. Forget all about that because it's nowhere. We take on this new thing." And then now they're realizing, holy smokes, we left so much. We left so much. They say everything you're learning really is remembering what we always knew, or what we know. Just like the Gnostics, they know it, but it's a question of remembering. It's really interesting, so interesting.
Yeah. I want to say hello to Matthew. Thank you for joining us, Matthew.
Good to be with you all.
Yes.
Hi, Matthew. This is Annie. I'm just saying hi.
So many things are taking place right now around the world, and talk about stable or stabilizing. It's destabilizing. Yeah. So many people are destabilized because of these things that are taking place, and unfortunately, that's the effect of the internet and television and radio and newspapers, if there are anymore. They keep people destabilized, but
that's true.
in a position to be controlled. And prevents people from being able to, listen to themselves. My goodness, it's terrible. You can't stop a person on the street or just listen. And they're probably going to be all upset and anxious about the news that they heard.
Yeah.
Or about, it's like, and my grandmother had a saying. She said, if you never heard it, it would never bother you. It's like anything. As soon as you hear something or see something, it's like, oh my goodness. It's like, well, was it worth it? Was it worth remembering? Is it true? Is it for you? And that's what media is all about. Media, powers that be, they know what they're doing. They have the money to do that. We don't. They do. I can't.
Look at the 24-hour news, whether it's CNN, Fox News, whatever other ones are out there. They're running 24/7.
Yeah.
You talk about yes. Yeah, it's a known fact that people who are tuned into them, and there's some people whose TV is on every hour that they're awake.
Yeah.
They're listening to the news, and I listen to NPR because I don't have internet or cable, but I can only listen to that for a period of time, and I got to shut it off. I'll be away from it for days because it's so discouraging.
Yeah.
And you can't be happy if if you're just surrounded by negativity. So, you will never find your own wisdom if you're always listening to someone else's words.
That's true. Very true.
See, and this is where the prophets came in, because the prophets were those people, male, female, whatever, that they didn't foretell future. That's not what a prophet isn't someone who foretells the future events. What the prophets were people that related stories about people that helped people learn how to be human. We'll look at Jesus as a prophet. His words were winsome words. Well, what does that mean? Well, it means they worked for them. It helped them know themselves. It settled them, any of the internal questions that they might have had. It helped them. It helped them go forward to enjoy each other, as opposed to, rabble rousers and destabilizers that say, those people over in that next county, we've got to take up arms against them because they're all evil. We got to go kill them all. It's a huge difference. Governments do that.
Boy, Joe, that's such a good point, because even think about Scripture and how many of the prophets would remind them where they came from.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what did they do with the prophets?
They killed them most of the time.
Yeah, the government, because people keep listening to them, and we're not going to be able to dominate them. But now we're in a position where around the world, we're able to compare notes. We're able to, in real time, call out these government people, political people, religious people that have proven themselves to be liars, crooks, deviants. So, there's a point here. Are they worthy of being listened to? Maybe I should have listened to myself. Whose side are you on, Joe? Which side, this or that or this or that? It's like, well, maybe I should be on my side, seeing as they're not. Whereas they try to give all sorts of propaganda to make it support me, because, oh boy, we'll give you a good deal. Yeah. And they don't. We find out that each one is just as guilty as the other.
Watchtower is a non-profit corporation, but a profit, Profit corporation.
Well, I guess it's not, I don't know if it's nonprofit. They just present themselves as nonprofit. I don't know. All I know is they sure know how to collect money from people.
Well, remember they have numerous corporations, so probably
Huge.
one of them, maybe Jehovah's Witnesses Corporation, is a nonprofit, but the others are for profit.
Yeah, it's just there is. I can't believe one thing that comes out of their mouths. Not one.
Mm-hmm.
Not one.
No.
There's no reason to it. There's absolutely no reason to.
We got an announcement that's off topic,
Good.
but if you don't mind, Casey wrote in and said, this is way off topic, but I did want to let everyone know that Vinnie Vincent did go to the ground. It is fully paid for, and thank everyone in this community for all the support. You are amazing people. In case you don't know who Vinnie Vincent was, he was a YouTuber and for many years, and he's still on. You can go and look at his YouTube videos, but he was not afraid to speak out and say it like it was. And Casey was his partner, and she took care of him at the end. And we appreciate everything that she did and everything that Vinny did. So she just wanted to let everyone know that all of that was taken care of, and all the there was a GoFundMe put up, and it really helped her a lot. So thank you all.
And here's the contrasting, the conflict, the challenge in Vinnie Vincent and his life, which obviously was finite, which every one of our lives is going to be finite. We're going to have an end. The question you have to ask yourself, well, am I going to do all these wonderful things that I can think of now at another time? Or is this the only time that I have, that I know of, to do what I personally believe in? Or will it, toward the end of my life, when I realize, I don't think I'm going to be here much longer? And will we say, I really wished I did something different. I should have such and such. Well, the course of wisdom there is, look, in fact, the Bible even talks about it. Do all that your hand finds to do, for there is no doing in the grave. You're not going to do it when you're dead.
Right, and I agree with you. I don't know what happens after this, but I do know that right now, all I can be is myself, Annie, and so I need to do everything I can while I'm here on this earth as Annie. Whether I come back as someone else or something else, I don't know. But if we are recycled, which I'm leaning more and more towards, we are recycled with a new experience altogether, then each time we have a new experience, and we get to do our best in that time, which is finite.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you on that, Annie, that we have a time right now. There's an interesting saying. It says, work expands to fill the time allotted. In other words, if you've got all day to throw the garbage, you'll probably take all day. On the other hand, you can get off your butt, grab it, go dump it, boom, it's done. There. Okay, now I got other things I can do. And so okay, well, what's the course of wisdom there, you might say? It's like, if you have anything else important to do, and if that garbage is important to get out of the house as well, you might take care of the garbage right away and just get it done, because it's the first thing that needs to go. At any rate, it's called, it's the way we have our mind and our time, and it's in our hands This is where religions and governments basically have tricked people into saying, well, let us manage your time. We'll manage your time for you. We'll manage your time. No, all you have to do is fulfill these requirements, and then you can get something in return. But let us manage your time. We can do it so much better than you can.
Could I inject something humorous into this?
Yeah.
It reminds me of something I heard one time. It said, God put me on this earth to accomplish a certain number of things. At the rate I'm going, I may never die.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was just to be humorous as all.
Oh, no. We're here. We've got time. We've got things. The things are up to us. Your pet, if you got a pet, your pet doesn't determine what you're going to do that day. You do.
Mm-hmm.
But now think about this. Are we pets of the government? Are we pets of some religion? How is it working out for those that do that? How did it work out for us? We put ourselves in a position to be cared for by the mother organization. Oh, yeah. And mother turned out to be a pedophile pleasing organization, a racket, stealing, hypocritical, working with the government, preaching that we shouldn't even have a view.
And that we should shun someone because they question or they don't want to be a witness anymore, or they don't want to go to the kingdom hall.
Lose your family.
Yep.
And
what kind of a mother is that?
Holy smokes. And you have to shake your head and wonder, how did that happen? It's like saying, I've got a lot to do. I'm going to turn the lights off now and get it done. No, you're not going to get anything done in the dark. Nothing.
Matthew, you are observing tonight, or?
Thanks, Fran. I always feel welcome with you and Joe. And you keep it balanced and grounded, so I just enjoy the company. If I disappear, then there's concern, so I thought I'd just put my face in here. But it's good because we come from a concerned background. I think that's how we got caught up with the things that we did get caught up with, is that natural concern, the natural humanity, right? So yeah, those are the positive sides. And of course, it's a work in progress trying to unlearn some of the controlling aspects.
Back to the garments of darkness.
They were talking about those garments and what it means to shed those garments. How? It's so interesting. And the fact is, people do. We do that. We do, but basically we have to give ourselves permission.
Mm-hmm.
We have to exercise that authority.
Yeah.
We also did the carnivore thing, Joe and Fran. And I did it to protect my brain, actually. But the family got involved in the carnivore thing, so I think it was also helpful as a family to do that, so that you can be disciplined, as opposed to perhaps just one person just doing it.
Yeah. Whenever Joe and I did anything, we did it together just so we could support each other. And it works out better that way.
And it's all an experiment. I mean, it's an object to observe, see what the results are,
Make changes,
adjust as needed, and go forward. Yeah. So
you were talking about wisdom. Oh, sorry, Joe.
No, go ahead. I'd rather hear what you have to say.
Talking about wisdom, and look, I got into a massive crisis. I had a pathogen that got into my blood and my spinal fluid because I was out in the bush. They sent me out into the bush to basically go and die. From my perspective, that's
Wow.
and my partner didn't make it, but
Oh,
and
so
Yes.
I just
sorry.
viewed it as that was the assignment. You see, it was that mindset. But you see, anybody
Yes.
that sort of goes
Wow.
against the grain
Yeah.
and doesn't fit in, that's what it is. But
Faithful man. A faithful man.
I found a psychologist, and I decided, okay, look, since there's this crisis, I'm just going to be very upfront with the situation and what I'd experienced. He said to me, Matt, whatever's happened to you, if that environment has rejected you, please trust me. It's done you an enormous favor, an enormous favor. So I appreciated a comment like that because I don't feel that wisdom comes from any single source. I draw from, I say, an eclectic mix of thinkers. So eclectic means a piece from here, a piece from there. So psychology, parapsychology, philosophy, some mystical traditions. So tapping into a well-established psychologist, clinical psychologist, and he's a criminologist as well, which was very, very helpful.
Yeah.
Just helped me explore consciousness, the human mind, and spiritual insight without having to fit neatly into a particular school or label. I appreciate in a healing network, it's comfortable to know what a person fits. You see, so you know how to relate, especially if you've been hurt very much. You go, well, who are you? So we know how to relate to that. But we don't always fit neatly into particular schools or labels or anything like that. So I just find that when Fran, you say, "Are you just observing?" Yes, sometimes not engaging the brain. The brain's been working so damn hard that just observing with the friends.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Matthew.
It's amazing. I mean, it's amazing what we do without realizing we're doing it.
Yeah.
And then we find out.
And then we can just integrate different perspectives, and that helps, look at me, to navigate life's complexities in a way that feels more authentic. That's it.
That's the humanity of us, Matthew. That's the humanity that religions really don't allow. The government really does not allow. In other words, here's the track. You stay in it. Well, that's not human. Humans aren't people that run in tracks. They can observe and they can navigate around and they can stop and start and think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything that we need is within us, really. And we don't need to be told what to do, what to wear, what movies we can watch. We really have to use our own mind and see how it works out and how it makes us feel.
I really appreciate just Jesus' words where he said, "The kingdom is within you."
Yeah.
In other words, if you can think anything in terms of a kingdom, authority, riches, potential,
A king.
Security, it's within you. It's not outside of you. So, meaning, holy smokes, that's a massive amount of not only authority, but also privilege. And I think this is where a lot of people make the decision and say, yes, that's for me. I will. And then others say, oh my God, where's the king? I want to bow down to the king. It's so much easier. Just show me the king. I'll bow down to him. What's he want? I'll do it. And because he'll feed me. That's it. Simpler. And I think we separate out into those basically two different types of people. Ones that are willing slaves, seeking a master, truly, genuinely seeking a master over them. And others saying, that's not my responsibility. My responsibility is to prove that to myself, within myself, and function with others. And It's so interesting. It's just so tremendously interesting because I think we're all getting the opportunity to figure out where the wisdom is in all of that.
You know, you made me think. Last Sunday, Joe and I, we had a meetup. We had about 13 people, and some were former Jehovah's Witnesses, and some were our relatives and family because they support us. And we talked to different XJWs, and they are moving on with their lives. Matter of fact, some didn't come because they said, "Well, I just don't need that anymore. I've moved on." And then ones that did come, they told us, you know, what they're into, and it's a beautiful thing because we're so different from each other. We all have strengths and we have abilities.
And we
So
learn from each other.
And we learn from each other. So we have that. We have the opportunity now to develop who we are, shed those layers of darkness, you know, all the negative things, and become the person we are when we're not pretending to be somebody else. I just love that because we all pretend. We all pretended to be somebody. And
I question. I mean, I loathed myself. I hated myself for being the person that I knew I wasn't. It's like it was so dishonest. It's like I'm dishonest in front of me and my family. I can't live this way anymore. And obviously I know so many others the same way. And thinking how many times a witness, child or adult, when faced with something, an option to do something, to think something, to see something, to say something, to be a part of something, they say, well, oh, I can't do that. Oh, we don't do that. Or it's not, I shouldn't do that. I'm not going to do that. You know? A total restriction on themselves. And I'm not sure what it's really worth. In some cases, yeah, it's good to stay away from certain things that are dangerous and wrong. Absolutely. But there's no way that a person would ever recognize or do what Jesus said to prove yourself a son of your Father. You know, to shine your light. Don't hide your light under a basket.
And Joe, I've had the opportunity, as you, of course, you know, to be at several of your meetups, and I just wanted to comment that it is a bit of a challenge, you know, because I was raised a witness and I'm out now. But to go to the meetups and listen to all the different people and what their belief systems are, not that we discuss a lot of that, but what they're doing with their lives and their approach, very different from what it was when they were witnesses. And you have to practice not being judgmental. You have to practice not correcting if you don't agree. Yeah. It doesn't matter. I don't have to agree with anybody.
That's right.
But to be accepting and appreciate the individual who's before you. It's quite a, I mean, I do okay, don't get me wrong. But as a witness, when I first started going, it was like, whoa, you know, these people are all coming at life from all different directions now. So,
yeah, no, I think you do very well, Annie. You kind of, you know, there's a range of people and you kind of fit in with different ones. And, you know, I appreciate that.
Yeah, just let people be who they are.
That's it.
Annie, what you just described is the same difficulties that people who are quote unquote born in the world, they have the same. How do I fit in? You know, how do I do this? So you're right in there with others, let me tell you. Yeah. It's a challenge, but the more we do with each other, the more we realize, holy smokes, we're all the same, so to speak, but yet different enough to learn from each other.
Mhm.
And
I'm glad you
yeah.
come.
Yes, we appreciate you coming, Annie. We
Thank you.
have some other news tonight. If anyone remembers Will Chandler, and he wrote the book, and it's in our book list on the website, and it's Amor Fati. It means the love of one's fate, and it talks about his life, and he's had quite a life as a witness growing up. And if anyone has an opportunity to read this book, I know Annie borrowed it and she read it. Well, anyway, in the book, he talks about the love of his life, Vicky, when they met when they were teenagers, and then they were separated and went different ways. And now we would like to show you, I'll bring it up. They just got married, and
Nice.
he's from the United States and she's from the UK. So they've had, a long distance relationship, but now they're married. And he sent us these pictures, and we just wanted to congratulate them. That's Will and Vicky Chandler.
Great people.
And Will has quite a story, and so does Vicky. We first met them in Washington, D.C. in 2023, and we wanted to get their contact information, and they were leaving. And all of a sudden, I'm running after them. Remember this?
Amazing.
Oh my
Yes.
goodness, I never ran so fast. And they were like going through this park, and here I am running, trying to catch up to them, calling out their name. Finally, I caught up to them.
Good.
Joe was behind me.
Right behind.
And I said, we really wanted to get your information, because we didn't know if we'd ever see them again. And we did, and we exchanged information. And then he came to one of our meetups, and he's been on our program, and such a wonderful couple. And we really encourage you to get the book and read it, because it's from growing up as a witness, going through very, very, very difficult times, and now they have their life together. And it really is it's more than a love story. It's really about growing, and Fati Amor.
Amor Fati.
Amor
And the thing he
Fati.
related, when
Excuse
we
me.
spoke about it, the love of fate, in other words, the embracing fate, your fate,
Mhm.
your fate.
Yep.
The question becoming, if not me, then who?
Mhm.
For example, I'm in a position, I'm the only one who can do what I feel I need to do. I'm the only one. I can't say, so and so, can I get you to do what I need to do? I wish it would. I really, please. We can swap. In fact, I'll do what you need to do. No, it doesn't work that way. It's ours. And once a person realizes it's their possession, it's their kingdom possessions, so to speak. It's theirs to do. And if they don't do it, it's like, holy smokes, you were in a position to do it and you didn't do it.
Yeah.
It's like, what did I give you this kingdom for?
Right.
It's like, it's realization, it's an awareness, and then it's the words that put it all together, and then move through a body, and then gets them to move their feet in that direction. That's the humanness of us. We can do that, and people are doing it. They are. We see it happen.
We want to say hi to Gail. Gail, thank you for joining us. Gigi.
Oh, hi. Better late than never.
No.
Okay.
Hi, Gail.
Hello,
Hi.
Gigi.
I was just going to
Enjoyed
make
your comment on Jimmy Bell. Yes, was it yesterday?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm very vocal on his show. I do a lot of research, and I'm a historian, so a lot of that stuff is fascinates me in a historical sense. I don't agree with some of it, but it fascinates me. I just wanted to make a point that was making me think of this, what Jesus taught us about don't be deceived. And especially in today's world, deception is out there, and to have the power of discernment is a tough thing to have. But you and try to take what's truth compared to what's falsehood, and it takes it takes some what's the word? It takes I guess it experiences because being one of Jehovah's Witnesses in the past, they sold us a rotten bill of goods, and I think we fell for it. But now our eyes are open more and more thanks to the internet and groups like this, that we don't get bamboozled like we did, and I hope we don't anyway going forward. And that's where I like what Jesus kept saying. He warned several times in the New Testament that don't be deceived. And there's a lot of deception in this world today, especially with this AI. You don't know who's real, who isn't real.
True. Isn't that true?
So it's going to be scary when they really push it, the AI.
Yeah, Gail, I appreciate that. I think we're going to be scared when we realize when we find out how much they have been.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, that was AI too.
There's a restaurant in Indonesia. I was watching that, and it was all run by AI robots. They took their orders, they brought their food to them. There was no people. Everything was a robot.
Wow.
But it was a wonderful atmosphere. Everybody was happy. And then there was another place. The guy was showing everybody about the AI stuff in Indonesia, and he went into a store. There wasn't one, but they had everything tagged, and they knew exactly what you were touching because they had cameras everywhere, even though they didn't have any people for you to talk to. And I forgot how he cashed out, but I just said, wow, that's wild. This is what we get to look for in the United States. I don't know about Africa, but.
Well, they tried to do that. Amazon tried to do that, but it didn't work, apparently, at least the way they tried to do it. Because I remember when they were advertising for that a few years ago, and they tried it in different test markets, but it didn't work. So now all they do is just lock the stuff up and have a person come over and unlock it while they watch you. Oh dear.
Yeah, it was funny to watch because it was amazing. As I guess, my girlfriend told me in Israel they have a hotel where their AI generated workers or whatever we're going to call them. At the hotel. No human. But the thing is scary. You have to have human contact. I don't know about anybody else, but I need human contact. I don't want to have in contact with robots.
Oh my!
I want the real McCoy. I like, I want to have real human people near me.
Same here.
Yeah.
Although some of these AIs are too perfect, they make them way too perfect.
Oh, you mean the ones that look human?
Yeah.
Oh, it's good. Yeah.
Perfect.
Look,
yes.
they've got. Here's something. There are facial masks that a person put over their head.
Yes.
And they look like another person. You never realize otherwise. You wonder how many times that was done on television or whatever. You wonder, or politics, or God knows what.
I don't mean to get into politics now that you mentioned the word, but they showed a guy who looked like Biden, but he was fixing his masks on the side. I don't know how that was.
Oh, there was so many. I don't know how many Bidens there were. There must have been a dozen Bidens.
But this guy was fixing his mask because it was over in Europe as he was walking out. The mask was unraveling on the side, and he's trying to fix the mask.
It's a theater.
Presidents have always had doubles, triples, however many.
Yeah.
There were times when I could tell it wasn't Hillary Clinton. I could definitely tell at times it wasn't actually Obama.
The same thing with Trump too. The same. There was. I don't know how many Trumps there are.
Yeah, who knows? And of course, like you mentioned with Biden, you could definitely see it with Biden.
Oh yeah, you could definitely tell the difference with him. Definitely.
Yeah, and there's been movies made, where there was a threat to the president, so they had a stand-in, a fill-in, and of course the fill-in ended up getting shot. But yeah, I think I hadn't thought about that. Perhaps we've been surrounded by AI for quite a while and don't know it. Well, I went into the local library. I went into the local library, and there was a young man working there, and he looked and acted just like a robot. No personality at all. I was pretty sure he was AI.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. He's still there, too. No personality at all.
We have a robot in our local Stop and Shop. A lot of people won't go in there because of the robot, but
Yeah.
it looks like the robot on, what was that cartoon? Lost in Space, the space
Lost
cartoon.
in
Oh, yeah.
Space.
No, it was
Will,
a cartoon, and
Yeah.
it had the robot maid. Do you know what cartoon?
Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
Jets, something Jets. Something
Jetsons.
Jets.
The Jetsons.
Jetsons. And
Now
and
we're
this is what
dating
the
ourselves.
robot look like. It looked like the maid in the Jetsons.
I remember
And
that was funny.
it's going up and down. What it did was, if somebody dropped something on the floor, it ran right over to the spot where you drop something, and it would sweep it up, and then it would go up and up down the aisle, sweeping up the floors.
Wow.
Yeah,
Have
we
you ever
have
seen the Have you ever seen the movie? Have you ever seen the movie Bicentennial Man?
No.
No.
Wait a minute. With
Robin
Kurt
Williams.
Russell?
No, Robin Williams.
Oh,
Very
no, I
worth,
must have that one.
very worthwhile watching. Yeah, quite interesting.
Huh.
Very good performance on his part.
We'll do it.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, we have a robot at BJ's when we go.
Oh,
We
do
were
you?
just wondering, we thought it was somebody whistling, and
Yeah.
Joe would whistle back, and then someone told us it was a
Was it?
robot.
Oh, so
The
much.
robot?
Yeah, it did inventory. It
Yeah.
just goes
Oh.
down. It just
It just makes this one sound. Yeah, it's like that.
almost like a cuckoo.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the new world we live
Oh
in.
dear.
Great world.
That's right.
So
Well, I'm pretty confident.
gonna-
Sorry.
Go
I
ahead,
was just
Annie.
gonna say,
No, go ahead.
I'm pretty confident, like Gail and like myself, there are always going to be people who need to be and want other people around them.
Goodness,
Not
we
everyone's
do.
going to settle into the robot thing
Oh,
and be comfortable and accepting with it.
That's such a that's such a distraction.
Of course, you know, with the young people coming up, that's all they knew. They'll
Yeah.
accept them. It's us older people who have a contrast to fall back on. But if, if they grow up around it, it's going to be very normal to them.
I always have to keep in mind that people are creatures of discovery.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They discover things and they incorporate them into their lives. Now, not everybody will do that, but people are that way. You know, we're discoverers.
I think we should all make some
I'm sorry. Go
time.
ahead.
I think we should all make up some time capsules and bury them so they can be discovered later on.
Be
Yeah, we
interesting.
might not be here to find out if they discovered it.
What's that?
That's the way my mind works.
Never know.
Remember, the HBO had a series on people's crazy fetishes. Well, this was way before AI came on the scene. They were making these. I think he made them. I forgot which European country. He was making these dolls out of human hair and eyelashes.
Yeah.
Guys were paying, I think, like $10,000 for a doll, and they
No.
showed these crazy guys who couldn't. I shouldn't say crazy. I'm sorry. I take that back. They were showing these men who couldn't relate to a real woman, so they had the
Oh, they're big.
they had the doll in the house with them, and they had them in the car. Well, there was a movie with what's his name? He's Dennis. He's
Dennis
now
Quaid?
No,
No.
Dennis. He was in the motorcycle movie with Peter Fonda.
Hopper. Dennis Hopper.
Papa, yeah, they had a movie. It It was a morbid movie, and he had a doll for a girlfriend he took everywhere with him. Then he beat the doll up at the end of the movie. This is my sick movies I watch. But it was just, it was very interesting to see all these men who would pay thousands of dollars for these, and these dolls were absolutely gorgeous.
Wow.
Because they couldn't relate to a real woman, so the doll was easy to.
And AI is already doing that. It's
Yes.
I listen to podcasts, and people are falling in love with AIs and want to marry them, and yeah, it's crazy.
Oh,
Born
boy.
JW said Stepford wives. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, Stepford wives.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Well, that's my sick humor.
Matthew says, good to be with you all. I think it's time for me to rest. Great
Oh, yeah.
conversations and subject. Thank you, Joe and Fran.
Always look forward
and
to
all.
Matthew.
Thank you, Matthew, for joining us.
Good night, Matthew.
Good night.
good
Take care of
morning.
yourself.
Good morning.
Take care of yourself.
everyone.
Glad to
Jay
be with
Miles
all
has an
of you.
AI girlfriend. John, you have an AI girlfriend? Well, I didn't mean to get on that subject, but
Because you have boyfriends too?
I guess you could.
Is it just girl?
There must be
Now,
guys.
That's a thought. I've only heard at this point of
I don't know. If there's
females.
Barbies, there's got to be Kens.
that's
right.
true. Yeah. Can you
They
imagine
look
walking
like
out the
it.
building with a robot and putting them in your car?
Oh, dear.
They'd have me committed.
For what it's worth, there are some that women that are traveling around and they have basically a mannequin or what looks like a person in the seat next to them,
Mhm.
just so it makes it look like they're
They're
not alone.
Good
Well, that's
point.
not a bad idea.
Gail's gonna get one.
And put a gun in his hands. Not if you bother me then. Make sure the thing can talk. I have a tendency to get pulled over a lot. No, because
You're always welcome here, Gail.
Oh, dear.
for speed, that's about it. I've been pulled over a couple of times for speed, but they always let me go.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Same
I had-
here.
I had a basket of laundry in the back seat, and I got pulled over for speed. And then he saw the laundry, and he let me go.
They didn't see the cocaine in the bottom, did they?
I handed him a donut.
Oh my God. Dear.
Can I just read you a text I just got from one of our young ones? We just found out about, not our children, but someone in the Kingdom Hall that we went to. It was a whole family, and I'm not going to say names or
No.
anything, but
No.
she just, and I sent her, I told her we were live on YouTube, and she said, was watching, but I got to get back to work. I appreciate you inviting me to watch something you guys said was how I felt. I despised who I was at meetings because I knew it wasn't me,
Yep.
and always constantly being judged by people because I was different. I didn't agree with things they did or were doing, and I know many who were hypocrites outside there doing their own thing. Then at the Kingdom Hall, they were talking so much crap about those doing those same things. Yeah. So these are authentic people, young and old, and they, like you said, you couldn't stand who you were. And so she no longer goes, and we're reaching out to her. She lives nearby, so hopefully she'll come to a meetup, and she's got 2 other brothers that left. So maybe all 3. It was a big family. And we're finding out more and more young people. And I really feel like, as a mother, I really feel, reaching out to them because, like they said, the boys kind of are alone. They didn't have anybody, and hear their own mothers not speaking to them.
Jeez.
So, and Joe and I knew them very well, went out in service with them. So glad she reached back. I just put it out there on Facebook. I didn't know how they would react to us. And she reached out and her brother reached out. So looking forward
That's
to
wonderful. That's
more
nice. Yeah.
And even to the ones listening now, there may be witnesses, and full-time whatever witnesses listening now. Welcome. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
We were, and where you are now. And well, you're on your journey, and we're glad you want to share it here and share it
Yes.
with us.
Yes.
There is a way.
That's
There is a
right.
way.
Everyone knows, or most of you know, Dinah Lost, or her real name is Lisa. And she wrote another song. Would you like to hear it?
Yes.
Okay.
Nice.
Shauna's going to play it. And it's from Dinah Lost.
I grew up counting doorways like they meant something, marking strangers on a list just to keep the numbers clean. Faces stayed with me, but the names slipped through, like the world taught me early what I wasn't meant to do. And I still feel it now when someone says their name. My mind goes quiet like it's bracing for the blame. But it's not that I don't care, it's the way I learned to bear people as boxes, pages and lines, not living souls with living signs. I'm unlearning what they taught, rewriting every tangled thought. If I forget the name you gave, it's not your worth I failed to save. I remember every feeling, every shift behind the eyes, every tremble in my chest when I was small and trying to rise. But names were never anchors, they were labels on a chart. And charts don't teach connection, they just teach you to depart. Now I'm trying to return to what the heart once knew, seeing people as whole colors breaking through. But it's not that I don't care, it's the way I learned to bear people as boxes, pages of lines, not living souls with living signs. I'm unlearning what they taught, rewriting every tangled thought. If I forget the name you gave, it's not your words I failed to say. We were never meant to sort each other like files in a drawer. We were meant to meet as mirrors, not as numbers to restore. So if I pause before your name, no, I'm healing from the frame that turned connection in the task and make compassion wear a mask. I'm remembering how to see every soul in front of me. I'm unlearning what they taught and opening the human part they forgot. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Wow.
Beautiful.
It's great.
Wow, that is
Thank
Joe and Fran, how that girl has grown. I remember when she first came on,
Isn't that so
We do
nice?
too.
she was so broken, and look at her now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
The name
Beautiful.
of that song, I grew up counting doorways.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah, wow.
Nice.
Yeah, she
So
has grown
good.
amazingly. Yeah,
Yeah, she has a very nice voice.
yes.
Wow,
No,
good for her.
yeah, she's a tremendous writer. She really
Yes.
is.
It's just out of line to ask of everybody. My little nephew that has the Crohn's, um, he was supposed to go in for surgery, and
Wow.
he got brought to the emergency room and will start crying. He has a very high fever,
Oh,
and they
dear.
can't operate on him just yet. He's bleeding internally, and
Um,
they're trying to find out, but they can't do anything because of his fever right now. So they're working on bringing his fever down because he was supposed to have surgery today, as a matter of fact, but it had to get canceled because of the fever. So, and he's such a beautiful little boy, and he tries so hard.
our focus is
Sorry.
on him.
If everybody
Yeah.
could say a prayer for his name is Connor, and
We will do our best.
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you,
Yes.
Gigi. Thank you, Gail. I
Yeah.
know you've mentioned him before, and I'm glad you're keeping us posted with that.
Well, it's heartbreaking because everything he's endured. I mean, he has a colostomy bag. He changes himself. He got picked on in the play yard. A kid hit him and broke his glasses on him,
Jesus.
and he was sticking up for another little girl. I mean, these kids are 6 and 7 years old, and they're beating each other up on the playground. But the
Oh,
principal got involved, and she bought Connor a new pair of eyeglasses, and she suspended the boy for a week.
good. Wow.
Yeah, he's a little trooper, Connor. That's what makes it even worse because he's so brave.
Wow.
He's
Well,
at Children's Hospital right now in Boston.
definitely our thoughts,
Well,
positive thoughts are with him. And
I hope I wasn't out of line doing this.
No,
No.
not at all.
no,
okay,
no,
my
no, you're
goodness.
not on the line. No.
Oh,
This is what's important. This is what's on our minds, and we need to know so we can share it. And the more
Yeah.
people that keep that in mind, he's going to be okay.
Yeah,
Positive energy.
I believe in the power of prayer. I do.
Mhm.
And the
Um,
power of positive energy.
Yep.
That can go
Absolutely.
a long way.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'll show you a picture of him next time I come on. I'll show myself, and I'll show you a picture of little Connor, how cute he is.
that would be nice.
Yeah, we would like that.
Yeah, he won student of the his classroom too. Got an award for being a good student.
No,
Wow.
That's one thing I like about him. He doesn't like this. It doesn't break his spirit. He's a very tough little boy, and it doesn't break his spirit. So I'm even more. I'm very much in love with that little boy because of who he is.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
The good soul.
He is. The police told my sister that because they came and did an investigation too because they don't want the bullying to go on. And
Right.
they told my sister Debbie that he was a tough cookie. So we'll see.
I'm glad the police got involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the nurses are wonderful at Children's Hospital.
Well, keep us posted. Yeah.
Oh well, thank you.
No, thank you.
I mean, I don't know how many surgeries this kid's already have, and he's 6 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they don't know what's causing the Crohn's at his age. It's kind of unheard of to be so young and have Crohn's. I don't know about it.
No, was he born with it, Gail, or did he develop it?
I think he developed it. He started having problems with his digestion, and he was always in pain. And that's when they just did a lot of testing on him. And then they did I guess, an endoscopy on him. And then that's when they discovered what the problem was with him.
Wow.
Yeah, I dampened the mood now. I'm sorry.
Well,
No, it's okay.
look, we live real lives.
That's
yeah.
right.
Thank
Like-
you very much.
Yeah, life is up and down, you know. You have to take both. You have to experience both.
Yeah, that's for sure. Mm.
So for
How
any
long
of
you
those,
on for tonight?
what's that, Gail?
How long are you on for tonight?
Oh, we're going to
I
wrap
think
it up.
we're going to pack it in right about now.
Yeah,
And I'm glad you spoke up.
Yes, I'm glad you did.
Yes.
Yeah, you were not
No,
out of line,
no
and
one.
neither was Casey out of line with Vinnie Vincent
Nor
too.
anyone else with
Okay.
their
So let us know.
circumstance.
Yeah, let us know your circumstances. You know, we want to share it.
I heard a big
And
deal.
like I said, if anybody hears anything about Debbie, we haven't heard anything
Yeah.
from her in a couple
Oh,
of
you
days.
haven't? I haven't
No.
heard from her either. She usually sends me
We have
video.
people reaching out to us, asking us if we've heard anything, and I messaged her and I called her. And I know John Marciano keeps in touch with her, but I don't know if anybody's heard from her. So that's another one to keep in our thoughts and, you know, keep thinking positive things for Debbie, that she's comfortable and she's, you know, in peace.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you have contact?
Wait a minute. John said Debbie's phone broke. Okay.
Oh, well, that's glizzy. Oh, okay, that's something.
And we don't have any other number for her. So,
Can you call the staff where she is?
yeah, we can try that. We can try that and see if they can get a message to her anyway.
Yeah, I'll do a wellness check.
And we can send her cards.
Okay.
If anyone would like her address, just contact us and we can give you her address. She loves cards.
Yeah, she does.
She's always sending out cards, even when she's feeling really, really bad. So,
Fran, is her address the same?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I do have her address. I'll make sure I send her a card.
Yep, we will too. Yeah. Yeah.
Friends, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And go back to that video sometime if you want to pick up on some things.
Yeah, it's well worth watching several times.
There is so much.
Okay, here's Debbie's address right here. 510 Centennial Circle, Apartment A, 114, North Platte, Nebraska, 69101.
You have it?
I have it.
Good.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Cards and letters.
Thank you, Shauna, for putting that up.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Thank you all for joining us.
Yeah.
We covered a lot tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, we
Thanks for the
did.
conversation.
Yes.
Yeah, good night, everybody. And
Good night.
Yeah.
Take care.
week.
And we're all going to continue what?
Living our life with love.
Love. Like Vern always says. People
That's right.
thought we came up with that,
Yeah,
but
we
no,
didn't come up with
Vern,
that.
that's
Vern's.
Vern's. Got to give credit where credit is
Yeah,
due.
he always ends it with love. Right?
Yes.
Powerful.
So keep sharing the love.
Yeah.
Okay.
Will do. Have a good rest of the week. Bye, everybody.
Keep shining your
Bye.
light. Bye.
night.
Good
Bye.
night.